Welcome back to Educational Currency. I'm Robert Namoski, proprietor of the Coaching College and Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu.
And I'm Chris Kaladikis from Maximum Education. Rob, what are we talking about today?
Well, something new today.
Something new.
Very new. Okay. Starting a new school. So here we are. So you could be working at a school previously and you've moved to a new school, a new change. Something that I myself at the moment is experiencing.
Yeah.
And there's an excitement to it that I have to admit. And there's a nostalgia to actually leaving the school you're at that I have to admit as well. So, we shall go through the quirks, the pros, the cons.
That's right.
And what to watch out for, what to be careful of. Any advice as well, Chris? I know you've done it a few times as well.
Yeah, but you're catching up.
Yeah, you're catching up. No, hopefully this one, like I said to myself, at my age, I'm doing my best to make this one permanent.
That's good.
This is, for me, don't get me wrong, where I worked previously was great. And I was looking at that being permanent. And the school I moved to, well, my daughter goes there.
Yeah.
And it was the convenience of dropping her off, picking her up. And basically how I got the job, the principal contacted me and gave me an offer. I'm very grateful for it. And we sat down, we had a coffee, and we hammered out all the details. And I went, you know what? Sounded very promising to me.
Yeah.
And so far, I've been there, a week now?
At this point?
At this point in time, I've been there 1 week, and as you expect, teachers are great, and teachers in general are great.
Yeah.
They're always, as soon as you go into a new school, you always get that warm, welcoming, you're a teacher, they're teachers, and you can get a lot out of them, especially the ones that are a little bit older that have been there a while. And I've been fortunate enough to do that at the new school I'm at.
That's it. Look, with your background, Rob, obviously, as well in your training extension too, you're a man in demand and opportunities will come up. And I guess that's where we'll start off, though. So with the point of why may we be changing schools and, what are the reasons people want to move between schools? And, there's obviously obvious reasons with just simply being disgruntled and, you want to go somewhere different. But we'll try to break that down.
Yeah, this disgruntled, you got to be careful of.
Yeah, of course.
It's almost like, okay, get down to the reason you are disgruntled.
Yeah.
Like, are you suffering from classroom management?
Yeah.
Because kids are kids. If you can't handle the classroom at one school, what makes you think another school is easier?
That's right.
And so you could well have the same issues starting at a new school, maybe even worse. So with being disgruntled, maybe if it's a toxic place, as in there's some narcissistic people that are really grinding you down, that could be a reason. But really, how often does that really happen?
Yeah, I know.
That's something to be very careful of.
Well, that's right. That's why I kind of threw that one out there straight away, because I think that is what most people think when changing schools. But what I've tried to focus on with some of the points is more of the positive reasons we might be changing school in why we might do that. And look, the first and most obvious one is new opportunities. You start somewhere new. It's a fresh start and you're doing it for a new opportunity. So with you, it's obviously, in your instance, closer to your daughter.
For myself, being at the age I'm at now, I'm 50 years old. My daughter goes to the current school. It is a little bit closer to our line of work and businesses. Having the convenience of dropping her off, picking her up, spending the time there with her. And actually, you become emotionally invested, not just in her, in the school as well. So you do want to make a difference to the kids at the school. At the same time, you make a difference to your children, which I'm expecting it to be a positive. I actually sat down with her.
Yeah.
Because when the principal gave me the text message, and I looked at it and went, okay, let's sit down.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we doing with this? You know what this is going to involve. And she was all happy with it, as long as I don't go camp with her. So we have a no camp policy.
Is the principal aware of this?
Yes.
Got to check these things, all right?
We'll see what happens in the future. But this was my personal situation. Yeah. And it wasn't a case of me applying for the job. The opportunity presented itself. It did. And I went, you know what? It is a good opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I sent my daughter there for a reason to that school.
Yeah.
And it was a case of, well, you know what? I'll give it 100% and let's see how it goes. And so far, I can say yes. It's been a very warm welcome from the teachers and the students as well. And yeah, it's also a real benefit when you are in demand. So if you're teaching maths, biggest advice is get on top of your extension 1 and 2 notes.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom, doesn't it?
There's such a shortage now, and I always say it to the prac teachers that come in, while you're at university, understand the content that you are learning, understand what you'll be teaching. As you go through the lectures at university, we'll understand this is extension 2 maths, get your notes ready. Yeah. These topics are in extension 1 maths. This is in advanced. This is in standard maths. So when you do graduate university, your notes and everything is ready. Yeah. That's the time for university. You can coast through university and get the degree, and then all of a sudden, okay, you have to do all this extra work that you could find yourself in trouble with. So with that in mind, if you are doing a maths degree, have the course in mind that you're teaching, and as they teach you at university, get those notes ready. Yeah. And then extension 2 maths, you're in demand. You could get a job in a private school coming straight out. Yeah. There is such a shortage with maths teachers, especially those that can teach extension 2. Yeah. And
it goes the same with science, in those high-end sciences, physics and chem, and technology and TAS area with your engineering teachers.
Absolutely.
Computing teachers too.
Yeah, definitely.
High demand. Yeah. And it's, look, with the idea of new opportunities too, like I obviously love my current work as well, but I would leave if there was a new opportunity for growth for me and all that. But then I'll talk more to that in later points about the advantages of movement and too, and like what's kind of in your mind, whether you go or where you stay too. The second point I had here is actually something you've already highlighted as well. Yeah. And it's about your home and being closer to home. That's right. Both we're people with families, and the ability to help out with our families can make a life along easier. And like even if I look at my previous school to my current school too, my previous school, it was a fantastic school there too. Many great mentors, many great staff there, but it was in Fairfield.
Yeah, Fairfield.
Much farther for me to get to. And my current school now is a 5-minute drive from home. So that, while that is convenient, it's what I can offer my family. And that's right. It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Well, I can't really say that, because from one school to another school, I think it's about 800 metres from where I moved.
You're the king of this suburb, aren't you, Rob?
Mate, I can't leave Rockdale. My wife calls it my Bermuda Triangle, from where I live to the school I teach at to where my businesses are. When they said, they gave us that 5-kilometre lockdown. Yeah. I hadn't left 5 kilometres in 5 years.
It wasn't a problem for him at all, man.
I didn't realise till I was restricted. But yeah, that's the thing, you can, but if at one school you did well, and you performed well, and people liked you, well, that's a good indication that would be the result at another school. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be careful of leaving one school in a toxic way. Yeah. And thinking that won't follow you into another school. It's not always, but more than likely.
Oh, so it's too true. Yeah, if you bring a positive attitude, it will attract positive people when you make 100%. That move, and that will follow you. It'll precede you as you go.
Then there's another thing. I know in the corporate world from my previous students, every 3 to 5 years they seem to change. They get headhunted, etc. So, especially working in bigger schools, in big organisations like, say, Sydney Catholic schools or the public system, you could look at that as you are a corporate professional. Yeah. You've gone to university for 5 years. At what point do you feel, okay, this is no longer mentally challenging for me? Yeah. So that could be something, moving up to the leadership positions, moving up to pastoral care the way you've done. After a certain point, are there opportunities at other schools where you can make that change? Yeah. That's another thing that you would have to consider moving schools.
Oh, 100%. What are they? And growth in different ways. Because like I said with myself, I'm going in a pastoral care direction, but then also I'm very passionate about computing and digital literacy. So when those positions come up, I am very interested, provided they're nice and close to home, the way it is there.
There's plenty of schools around our area.
But look, I'll then bring you to the next point now. Yeah. And with this one, this is something that goes through my mind, because I've been at my current school now 14 years, 9 years in the pastoral care role. But I reflect on myself, as any good teacher does. Am I getting to a point where I'm getting stale with either my peers or with my students? Is that something that I should keep in mind? Should I be actively now looking for a different school?
me personally, from my experience, what is in front of me, I focus on.
Yeah.
So literally, what is in front of me, I get it done. So all my attention is, okay, I've got students in front of me. There's a certain caring I need towards them that we do naturally have as teachers. There's a certain way I need to make my way around them and, encourage them, engage them in the classroom to get them to learn. And then what have I learned this year that's different to last year?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing. It's a learning curve. And if a few years past that, okay, you can't really answer that, then it could be a case of, well, maybe a different role would be better, you'd get more growth, maybe a different position, same position at another school.
Yeah.
Could be better. We had a friend of mine that came on the podcast, Nick Boszkowski. He's had quite the career, listen to him. And he himself, he went from the English coordinator to the coordinator at Sydney Catholic Schools for English. Then he did that for a few years. Then he moved into curriculum coordinator at another school. So you could see, and judging by him, knowing him as a friend, he needs that mental stimulation, that growth, to feel that sense of accomplishment that, what, I've done something, I've achieved something.
And to feel fresh.
That's right.
And to get that freshness out of you. And then it's funny then because that's obviously chasing new opportunities too. And then that's when I know with a lot of people who do go for growth, in his case it probably isn't this, but then sometimes you do have to move further from home to get the new opportunity if it is some sort of, some people.
Well, there's that balance of family and career.
Yeah.
So then you kind of balance it out. Maybe when your kids are a little bit older, you can.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's different for everyone. It's personal, and only you can make that choice.
Yeah.
Like only personally at home with your family, would it be a better choice or not so? So it's just something to take into stride and really carefully think about. And then, like I said, back in my situation, you could say I was poached. Is that the word they use these days?
Poached. Yeah. You get tapped on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And they know your skills. That's you got poached, mate.
Yeah. So I heard that word before. What do you mean poached? Did someone just grab me?
That's it.
Yeah, I didn't have no choice.
They set up the bait with that nice breakfast and coffee, mate.
Well, actually, I do miss my old school's coffee.
That's one of the reasons you may move to a big coffee machine.
Coffee machine, please. That we have a coffee machine at the new school, but it's not a $30,000 coffee machine. But that's the things with moving from one school to another. There are advantages and then disadvantages. You just have to. I think with myself, I make that okay. I'm here. I'm making this work.
Yeah.
So no matter how long you stay, you always leave that positive impact.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you have to. You have to for the school and obviously for your own mental health.
Yeah. And look, it's good you said mental health just then too, okay? Because then if we are talking about people who might be feeling a bit disillusioned within the teaching world, and obviously we're all about retaining teachers and attracting good teachers. One of the reasons I'm going to put out for Reasons for Changing School is to try a different scenario or system. Because I also think in my own situation, I'm very effective at the school I'm at because I think I have a good affiliation with that school. I grew up in that area. I went to that school. I have a strong connection to that school, its values, its culture. I fit in there very well. But in saying that, like I said, my previous school, I didn't go there obviously because I went to this school, but as a student. But I still had those same traits and I worked well in that environment. To a peer that felt like they weren't feeling like they were in the right place, I would recommend either trying a different system. So try the independent system, try the Sydney Catholic school system, try the public system, move between them to see what kind of best suits the type of teacher you are. And then we've spoken about it before too. Try all boys, try all girls, try co-education, try the K-12 schools, because they all offer different opportunities and different environments and even different socioeconomic areas too, because that might be where you might have a particular skill set that can support those environments, maybe because you know those environments well from your own past and your own history too. So that's another reason you may move school, because just seeking that where do you best fit in.
Absolutely. It's not just do you fit into the culture of the school, And that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Sometimes you may not fit into the culture of the school. Whereas, and when the fit happens, you do enjoy going.
Yeah.
So you just got to be careful. But then we need to go back and be careful of, okay, are you burnt out from classroom management?
Yeah.
Now, classroom management, from what I've spoken to teachers at both schools, seems to be the biggest burnout.
Yeah.
If you can't manage the classroom, if you haven't acquired those skills set yet, that's something that you first have to get on top of as a teacher.
No, it burn you and burn you quick.
Makes or breaks you. I've seen people with PhDs that just get burnt out.
Yeah.
They can't handle the high school classroom. And even though they've got this awesome record, academic record on paper, they're ineffective in a classroom environment.
Yeah.
So you'd have to really get on top of the issues that what is stopping you enjoying this job.
That's right. And it is often very much self-reflection and where do you want to be and what you want to do. And like I already kind of alluded to it when I said it, but if you're not happy before getting out of teaching, okay, at least try another school or another system first, because you might find where you fit a little bit better. And we need good teachers. So just try somewhere different first before you get out. But hopefully you're not getting out. Hopefully you love teaching and that's why you're here with us today.
That's the plan. Obviously, that's the whole point of the podcast.
It is.
Is to just give you some points and tips and maybe just get you over that edge where instead of quitting, you can find the passion and the drive.
And that's it. And we'll always say it. You're not alone and it isn't easy. Okay, we all go through this and we all think about our positions all the time. Okay, so we've got to keep that in mind.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. When you do step into a new school, remember, you're the new person.
Yeah.
And I've been the new person twice now.
Yeah, that's right.
So I can say first time at...
Your first school?
My first school. I went, okay, this is a big school.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And I was lucky enough there to actually... I did a prac there. Yeah. So I knew... And in my prac, I became good friends with the teacher that did the prac with me.
Yeah, your mentor, your supervisor.
Yeah, so he was great. He was phenomenal. And the skill sets I had, I didn't have, he had.
Yeah.
So he was Mr. Angelo Scully. He was phenomenal in dealing with the lower end classes.
Yeah.
He was brilliant, absolutely.
And there is a skill to that. There is a skill to those students who aren't as engaged.
Absolutely. And then when I was given a bottom end class, he was my go-to man.
Yeah.
Exactly. What do you do in this situation? How do you handle certain scenarios? The man's got 30 years experience.
Yep.
And I went, okay, this is great. So the skill sets I had from teaching the top end maths, all of a sudden, now you're given a bottom end class.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse as a maths teacher to say, oh, no, they're not smart enough. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of having a personal trainer and saying, no, sorry, that person's not fit enough. I'm not training them. So as a maths teacher, you should be able to handle your top-end extension 2 kids and your bottom end, say you get a struggling year 7 class where you're teaching them the times tables.
Yeah.
Either way, you must have the skill sets of both.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you need to fix that up immediately.
Yeah, that's good. And that's, once again, back to mentors, eh?
Absolutely.
And the amount you can learn there, which goes right back to our first episode.
Yeah. And you have to be realistic with yourself. For example, okay, what are my skill sets? What can I really contribute to this school? Okay, where am I lacking? Who has those skill sets that I can latch onto and then fix them up straight away?
Yeah.
And if you walk in with that mentality, I'd like to think to the best of my ability, I do and I have, okay, this is where you begin to grow as a teacher.
Yeah. Well, look, that's a great point now to bring us over to our next section on now the advantages of changing schools, because every time you go into a new school environment, there is a new group of teachers there and a new group of mentors there. So you came into your first school, you found a great mentor and he taught you something.
Right. Yeah.
Now you've actually moved to your next school, and I think already you found another mentor who's great in a different way.
Yeah, I went from one end, I found a mentor to help me with the struggling kids. And to this end now, I actually found a mentor that was way more experienced than me in teaching in a classroom. We've actually got him on the podcast. Thank you.
Coming up.
We won't tell you when, but I'm very excited about this one where I go, okay, wait a second. He's in his mid-60s. He's been teaching 40 years in a classroom.
Wow.
Now, at any opportunity, he could have made his way up to the administration positions.
Yeah.
But no, his passion for teaching in a classroom, you can still see it in his communications, when he talks about the mathematics, when he talks about his classes, etc. So on the other end, I went, even though something I think I'm quite good at, you go, okay, wow. There's someone else that can actually push what I'm good at to another level.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to work with him.
I know that's and there's a rejuvenation to that, isn't there?
Absolutely.
You know, that challenge, that growth, that excitement is there. So the ability to get new mentors, and then also because you've still got your old crew from your old school too, you start to develop networks, and that gives you more flexibility throughout your career too, and people you can call to too. So you're broadening your teaching support network, I find.
Absolutely. And starting at my first school, man, I made a lot of mistakes. And the fact that the maths department was that good, that they mopped them up behind me so quickly, no one even noticed.
Yeah.
And having a team like that, I'd have to say, really built my confidence up. Yeah, you know what? I can really do this maths teacher role in a classroom, because it's different in a tuition center.
Yeah.
It was very different in a classroom. So I was very fortunate enough to actually begin work at the school where they had a maths department where, okay, I look around me, there's six teachers there with 25 plus years experience.
Yeah.
And they knew what the skill sets I bring to the school, and they let me shine with them.
Yeah. And that's a sign of a good department.
Absolutely. So it's one of those things, if you're lucky enough the way I've been to actually have that in my first year and a half, 2 years of teaching, and I built that confidence up of setting exams, marking exams, things that I was lacking in, I got to see how they do it and actually went, okay, now I feel much more confident with that. So having that tap on that shoulder, getting asked to come to the school where my daughter's at, I went, you know what? I feel a lot more confident than if I started there at the beginning.
Oh, of course, 100%. And look, that's great you say that, because my experience too, straight out of university, was very similar. So my first full-time position was a 6-month block at a school in the eastern suburbs. And I reckon if any of those teachers saw me right now, like sitting here talking the podcast, they're like, that guy can actually teach. Like the amount of mistakes I made on a behavioural management level, on a teaching and content level and understanding things, it was hard. The first year out is hard, and you do need mentors to support you through there. And then in my second school, the school I was at just before this one, well, there I was still quite young. I did get a lot of growth and I had some fantastic mentors there, but I was still, in my early 20s, your priorities are different there. Yeah. And being very nice to myself and how I describe this, but you are growing. And then now I'm at my current school. So the next point I'll say, to actually highlight it as what the point is now, is of going to a new school, is you can redefine yourself. In my current school, I got to redefine myself as Chris Kalidakis, the professional, which I did not have at previous schools.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think this goes for not just school, any job. Soon as you step into a new environment, make yourself useful.
Yeah.
Absolutely make yourself useful. There's a teacher looks like they need a hand with something. He's setting up, or she is setting up a classroom. 5 minutes to go. Do you need a hand? Pull the chairs up. Be that person that the teachers can rely on. They know that, if they need something, they can come to you.
Yeah.
Even simple things like, you've got lunchtime due, there's a piece of paper in front of you, pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, there's no kid around, pick up that piece of paper, put it in the bin.
It's good for the kids to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing too, you're not just redefining yourself with the staff, you're redefining yourself with the whole school community, with the parents, with the students too.
You have to. There's a sense of pride in what you do. There's a sense of pride of where you're at and the school you're representing.
Yeah.
So even though you've come from one school into another school, well, the school you're at now, that's your home.
Yeah.
And you need to set your home up in a comfortable way where you feel comfortable and you are making a positive impact to everyone else around you, the students, especially the teachers.
Yeah. And teachers are obviously, depending on which school you go to, they'll be trying to suss you out. Like even with your move too, you've got this great mathematics background. People want to see, is he as good as they say he is, It's funny, there'll be a bit of talks amongst the teachers about, this new guy coming in and, you've got to prove yourself and show you are. But then also with the students too, an initial challenge will always be you have to redefine yourself with them. Like in my current school, like I'm in wellbeing, most of the year groups know me even before they even get me, because they've got older brothers, they've got older cousins, students across year groups talk to each other. I have that established reputation, which is fine, it's great. But there is an opportunity going to a new school where they don't know you, and you can make a fresh start in a different role and you show a different expertise. So you get to develop a new target audience with your students and how they perceive you too. So a fresh start there as well.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing I always do, well, I have, as soon as I stepped into a school, have a chat to the experienced teachers. Ask them for the pros and cons. Ask them for, okay, what am I in for? How can I make this a more positive place? What do I need to know about this school?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Biggest thing for me, obviously being a little bit more mature, stepping in, people see that maturity. And obviously when I do ask them, they realize that I'm serious, okay, help me out here. I'm new here. Okay, what am I in for?
Yeah.
Simple things. For example, a kid misbehaves. What are the policies?
Yeah.
Run through every possible scenario in your classroom of a kid misbehaving, from simply disrupting the class, I don't know, to absolutely throwing a chair at you.
Yeah.
What are the policies? Who do I call? How's the procedure run?
Yeah.
And then you've got that confidence of, okay, I've covered most scenarios in my brain in case it escalates. I'm ready for the worst possible thing that I can think can happen. I can hopefully calm the situation down before it gets to that.
Yeah.
But I know I've got the support of such and such teachers, depending how they have their well-being, how it's structured, and you're ready for it.
Yeah.
So it was stepping into a new school. That was the first thing I wanted to know. Okay, how's the well-being structure? Who do I go to for certain situations? And how do I tackle, certain scenarios? And you can lay those scenarios out for yourself in your head, especially even if you've taught somewhere for 6 months.
Yeah. And look, it's excellent because you're showing respect to the staff that are already there. And I've mentioned this in a previous podcast before. People are always going to be willing to support you when you're new, and they're going to be willing to give advice. If people realize they're giving advice and you're not listening to it, they're unlikely going to give advice again. So it's great that you've gone in already showing that respect and showing you're willing to listen.
There's nothing easier than asking teachers for help.
Yeah.
Nothing. There is no better place where you'd walk in somewhere and ask a teacher to show you something to teach you.
Yep,
they just switch that teaching brain on so naturally, and they just pour it out for you, all the information you need and more.
Yeah.
But you have to honestly ask.
Yeah, honestly ask and show the respect.
Absolutely.
Who's the current hierarchy, who's the coordinators, they're in their position, they're experiencing those reasons, for those reasons. So make sure you do show that respect, and hopefully they'll continue to give you guidance as you go on. And then as you earn your cred, then they'll start listening to you more as well. But you can't just think you're coming in, you're on top. They'll rub people the wrong way.
Look, you're never on top. You walk into a school, listen closely the first 3 months.
Yeah.
Just sit there quietly, figure out who's who, figure out what the scenarios are with the leadership team and everything else, and just watch and listen.
Yeah.
And that's what I did a lot at the first school I worked at. I really watched the teachers.
Yeah.
I watched what they were doing. I watched them closely. I watched the way they interacted with each other. And then you realize, okay, this is I'm building my confidence in more and more.
Yeah, it helps out so much. And look, obviously your change in school now has also been a change within different types of systems. And it's one thing I will say as well about changing schools in that idea is that when you're moving between schools, it gives you a wider scope of the industry of education, because the way one school operates and the way another school operates, even if they're the same makeup, same demographic and in the same suburb, they can still be completely different, okay? And so that gives you just another amazing sense of what our industry is all about. It makes you wiser to our industry.
Oh, absolutely. I changed from a really big system into a small independent system.
Yes.
Now, nothing is perfect.
No.
There are advantages on one system, there's advantages on another system, and both ways there's disadvantages. So you can't be complacent and say, I had it really, really good at one way, and be nostalgic with it, you know? Whereas you have to, okay, I made the change, I'm here, I'm now, and I'm making it work.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, just move forward. If you do change schools, soon as you're moving into that school, this is your world, this is your life now.
That's it.
And you make it work. And it's very important.
And the thing is too, when you move between schools too, like if there is like a new assessment task that you're trying to develop, you can bring to the table potentially things you did at the previous school. And that helps too. Like, you know how another school did something that could be, you know, a hole in a current curriculum.
For example, I just set an assessment task for the year 10s. And obviously, they asked me, can you set the test? No problem. I set the test, but I got the head teacher to check it.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Absolutely. So it's on his desk. All right, task you set, yes, it's on your desk. Can you please add a question in or just give me feedback on it? So you can get an idea of the level that the school's at and how they're testing. Because what you might set may be different to what the school expects you to set.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where no matter what you're doing, you're at a new school, ask someone for advice to help you with it.
Yeah.
And they'll give you that feedback straight away.
That actually brings back memories for me too. Like when I did go to my second school, like I said, I was only second year out, and obviously I had a stint in that first 6 month period. But yeah, the quality of assessments I was making, I believe, were pretty low. And then because I found such good mentors at the next school, they started showing me, well, this is how you put together a good assessment task. Here's your rubrics. And they specifically said, Chris, you're going to be in charge of these tasks for year 7. And they gave me an opportunity to shine. And I do believe now I create really high quality assessment tasks. But yeah, I had to do the move. I had to learn how the new school operated. And then that's something I brought to my current school as well. And now, obviously, through networking, through professional association, that's become a skill that I'm very, very known for in the computing world. But you go through multiple mentors and multiple schools to learn these mentors.
Absolutely, 100%. And like we said, the most important thing is get into the culture of the school.
Yeah.
You have to get into the culture of the school. And like we have, you know, meeting new staff.
Yeah.
Staff socialize.
Yeah.
They call you out to a social event. Yeah. And this was new to me.
People didn't ask CIO usually, Rob?
No, I'm locked into Rockdale within the world I'm in. No, I do socialize with my jiu-jitsu community, and you know, they're like a family to me, etc. But okay, this was new.
Yeah.
And I went, you know what? These are great people.
Yeah.
I will get to know them. And I've been grateful for it ever since. I've actually become good friends.
Yeah.
You know, which is a nice feeling to have, you know. Yeah.
Well, look, and that's a good point. So look, if we do look at our last kind of section we're going to talk about now, it's what are the challenges of starting a new school, and then how can we get around them? And the first challenge is kind of that social part of meeting new staff. It can be very tough. It can be very daunting. But then you've just said it then how do we get to know these people?
You get to, if they call you out to a social event, go.
Yeah.
Go, relax, and just calmly have a nice time.
Yeah.
You have to go. I can't see any way around that, because if you go, they get to know you. Remember, they're getting to know you. They all know each other.
Yeah.
You're the one stepping in.
Yeah.
So you're the one that needs to make that effort.
Yeah.
If you're socially isolating yourself, they're having an event, and you can even ask about that event. Oh, there's a school fundraising event where, you know, on a Friday night, they're doing a barbecue.
Yeah.
Oh, would staff like to come? Especially if your department, if more than half of your department is going, you have to go.
Yeah.
And it's that chance where they'll meet you. Oh, this person's serious, he's coming to the event. And you get to meet teachers in a social context.
Yeah.
Where you'll get a lot more out. You'll get that person behind the teacher, which is very important to get to know.
It is. And even like I said with school events, we had our showcase night last night showing off the great tech jobs and artworks that happened at our school and the music. And there was, like, in our TAS department, the 3 young blokes, you know, they're all in their first 2 years of teaching. They were all there. They're mingling with parents. They're bonding with the students. And, you know, they helped them with all those projects. But it was just great because it gave them opportunity to shine. It gave them an opportunity for parents to see them in such a positive manner. These young men who helped their sons make this great work. So it just, it makes them a part of the community and helping with that. And it's funny too, one of the teachers in my Year 12 homeroom team, she's about to go on maternity leave, and then her replacement hasn't even started yet, but she's already put her name down to attend graduation. So like this person knows that they're coming into the school, she's already putting her hand up to get involved. And that is a great start.
Yeah.
I haven't even shook this person's hand yet, but already I'm like, yep, okay, good.
That's how someone's experienced. She knows at graduation, she'll get to see the teachers winding down and just see how the school operates as well, how we do graduation, what do we do, what songs do we sing, what are our trends, all of that. Absolutely. And then there's another thing of, well, it's a new school. You got to make your way around that school.
Yeah. Well, look, that can be tough. And look, our school is actually going through a whole renumbering too. So it's going to be even harder than it was to actually find where specific rooms are. But that can be a real challenge. When you change schools, knowing where rooms are, you'll know pretty quick where like your homeroom and teaching rooms are. But then there are other rooms you're going to have to go to for many different reasons. Where's the tech block? Where's the art block?
Best thing, you find a student that's nicely dressed and tucked in and ask them.
That's it, your helper.
They'll help you straight away.
Yeah.
As soon as you get that nicely dressed student that's tucked in, that seems to be busy walking around, you ask them for the room number, they know where it is.
And it is important too, because knowing where all the rooms are helps the school feel like home too. Like when you do, if things feel cold when you're locked to your classroom, but the second you start knowing the wider school, where all the amenities are, where's the hospitality lab where I can possibly get a coffee, where can I do my research, Rob, things like that.
Research is very important.
It's very important in the school. Okay, all of that, that helps it feel like home too. So finding out where all those things are, it just helps you settle in too. One of the daunting ones I brought up before as well is, how do you re-establish yourself with a new group of students? I think that can sometimes be the toughest part. You might have had a great rapport with students at a previous school. You're walking into a new classroom now. These students have no idea what to expect when you walk in. What would you do, Rob? Or what are you doing?
Well, what I'm doing is, first of all, I'm here to teach.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I am here to teach you. Nothing else gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
After I teach you, I get to know you.
Yeah.
So that's what they're paying me for. They're paying me to teach you. And students usually, they're there to learn. Whether they may not like it, they hate the subject, whether they like the subject, they're sitting at a desk in front of you.
Yeah.
So my job is manage the classroom first, teach them, get your work ready. Once you've presented the work, you've taught them, then after that's done, as they're doing their questions or you've got them engaged in some sort of activity, you get to know them slowly.
Yeah.
And obviously there'll be disciplinary issues. They will try and test you, and you make yourself firm and you absolutely, you hold your word.
Yeah.
If you say you will do something, it has to be done.
Yeah.
It has to be done.
You got to follow through.
Yeah. There's no way around that. Then after the students say, okay, sir's serious, his lessons are prepared, he is putting in that passion to teach us, then you get to know them.
Yeah.
And getting to know a student, you can discipline a student, like really put them into place, and then give them a high five on the way out.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely. Because the student needs to feel, look, I really want to get through to you. I want to teach you, but I just don't like that behavior.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's your behavior that's a problem. And the behavior changes, you go, that's it. That's a student as well.
Yeah.
And it was great. I had an email from a mum where I actually went quite hard on this student.
Yeah.
And I told him, what he was doing wrong and my expectations. And he staunched up a bit, and I really showed him what he's doing wrong and his expectations. And then at the end, I called him over and said to him, why are you doing this to me? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to help you out here, and you're really giving me a hard time. Is there any reason for this? He went quiet. He really went quiet. And I went, come on, man, what are we getting at here?
Yeah.
I didn't put you in trouble. I didn't write you in your diary. I didn't give you a demerit. I didn't give you a detention. And you're still going to staunch up? And he just felt embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, because you showed him you're a human too.
Yeah, and I said, so, I'm new here.
Yeah.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
Got an email from his mum, he's eating his eggs now in the morning, etc. We have a pastoral once a week. We have a pastoral lesson where you have a bunch of kids and you take them through stuff that pastoral care give us, you know.
Yeah.
And so far I went, okay, that was a good win.
That's a good way to start.
That was a good win. It was a good week. I wasn't feeling well. I was quite under the weather and sick. So in my last episode, I'm sorry.
That's it, eh? Could be the Godfather tone happening.
With the Godfather tone, you know, with laryngitis, bronchitis, every itis. God knows what the else the doctor had me.
You did very well. You did very well there.
Yeah, thank you. And it was a good win. It was a nice feeling going, okay, you know what? I got through to this kid.
Yeah, and it is a win because, you did get through it and you spoke to him well. And it's funny because what you said too with the coming new school aligns with the old saying too, although you've done your move in towards the end of the year, but when you started a new school at the beginning of the year, you don't even smile until Easter. And that's the saying, you know, you're that by the book, okay? You don't show them anything. But like you said, then when you do go to the one-to-one, it is good for them to know that you're human. Still stern.
Yeah. There's, like I said, there's a certain behavior I expect and I hate the behavior.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah.
Your behavior changes. Now, I want to get to know you.
Yeah.
Like, why did that behavior happen? Please, can we stop that? Yes, sir. No problem.
But they are going to test you, aren't they? They are going to suss you out. Does this guy know the rules? As you said, does he know the rules? Does he know what should happen? Is he going to accept me doing this? What can I get away with? They're teenagers. They're going to push.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're going to push.
Absolutely. Well, that's our job as a teacher. Yeah. Again, goes back to classroom management.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. As a teacher, if you are stressed out, please check, is it your classroom management?
Yeah.
And do ask more experienced teachers for help immediately.
Yeah, it is, you know, and that can also help you bond with the staff of the school too, you know. Someone may take you under their wing, they might assign you a mentor. Nothing wrong with that, you know. We all need, you know, you've already said it multiple times, and myself too, I thrive on having mentors helping me do things, you know. I stuff up all the time, I still stuff up all the time, just people cover for me, okay? But that's the thing, it's about having good mentors.
Have to. You find that. And you can change mentors too, and that's another whole topic we can look at, mentorship as well. So next thing is, okay, a new school, it's a new culture.
Yeah,
that's something you need to look at. And for me, actually stepping into this school, it's an Orthodox school. So being Orthodox as well, I kind of fit into that culture quite quickly. So it just felt natural from day one.
Yeah.
Where, you know, okay, you know, I've got this.
Yeah. And
so that made it quite easy for me.
Yeah, and you've got to be realistic with that too. Like, I know that sometimes we think, I might make the jump to private or independent because they pay better, but in that context too, do you stand for what their mission and values are? And that's an important thing to know. Now, look, I work in a system where I am of a different denomination of that faith, but I still support their values. I'm very, you know, big on supporting their values.
Because same as well. With a Catholic school, being Orthodox, the similarities are so much that I really didn't feel any sort of adjustment needed.
Exactly.
You know, the Lord's Prayer is the Lord's Prayer.
It's the same God.
It's the same God, you know. So that felt comfortable, obviously being my Christian faith. But and then again, stepping into another school now, being an Orthodox school, where I went, okay, it is slightly different, but still in many ways similar.
Yeah.
So I can't say I've really changed that much, where you'd go from, say, a private school, then moving into a public school.
Yeah.
Or from an independent school, and you go into a really hard socioeconomically challenged school.
Yeah.
So that's a really big jump.
Yeah, that's it. And so you got to know what you're heading in towards. And even in just saying what we said too, one type of school I actually do steer clear of are the independent Greek Orthodox schools, because I feel like it's too incestuous. They'd want to know too much about me, you know. And
that's because, see, if I went into that school, it'd be different, because I'm not of that ethnic background where they can get to know all that about me. But being Orthodox, it would fit in, similar to how I am now with the Coptics.
Yeah, but you want to keep that, you know, your personal life and sometimes school life in the context of the students more so, and the families of the school. You do want to have a bit of separation there. So it doesn't mean just I'm this way, I should be in this school. There obviously is flexibility, and I just want to say that too. It's just where you feel comfortable, but you make sure you can support whatever the mission is of that school and the expectations of that school as well.
But in general, I found now, I've worked at two schools, the similarities are more than the differences.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can honestly say the similarities are much closer than what I'd say would be different.
Yeah.
The difference would be the size of the school. One school seems to have a bottomless bank account, but then on the other hand, you have a lot of kids in the class.
We won't say which one's which, okay?
Whereas the new school, it's an independent school. It's a smaller school. It's more hands on deck, sort of scenario. Okay, what needs to be done in order of, you feel, okay, in order of the running of the school, okay, I'm here now. I'm not just here as a classroom teacher. I'm involved in the actual running of the school, especially with the more smaller independent schools. Whereas a bigger school, the school seems to be running.
Many hands light work.
Many hands light work. But then on the other hand, your classroom sizes are bigger. So there's no, you could say one system is fantastic compared to the other. There's a give and take scenario. But on the other hand, they're all teachers in there. Everyone's there for that same job. Everyone's got that same mentality.
That's it, and that's what's important, that they are passionate teachers, no matter what school they're at. And that shows you that it's a good school where you're going to, and obviously makes you feel proud of your choice when you can actually walk in and see that.
Absolutely. And then our final point, obviously, you've worked at a school, you become friends with the people at the school. You're spending so much time together that you're not just going to cut ties straight away. No, absolutely not.
Some cases you're lucky and you're doing a podcast with the guy that left the school and that keeps you in touch.
Absolutely.
But missing your peers is always going to be good. I've got great friends that have left my school and they've gone on to great things, but still miss them, still miss seeing their heads around, but we're lucky too that, you still network, like they are your friends, you still go out and do the social things, but, there's even the professional friendships as well, which is kind of what we do here too, because we're mates and we talk about stuff as well, but also we talk about professional things as well. And so there's still that opportunity too, how are you teaching this thing at the new school you're at? So there's still reasons to be engaged with each other. And sometimes it makes your friendship even better, distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Absolutely, like they're not my old friends, they're still my friends. I wouldn't say the school I've left, they're my old friends.
No,
I consider them current friends. Even to this day, probably in the school holidays, we'll end up with a catch-up somewhere, we'll grab a coffee, etc., etc. I'm waiting. Call me.
That's right, mate.
Or I'll call you. Either way.
And it's so true too. And and I've already given you a history of my movement through schools, but on social media, sometimes the things that, really make you happy, obviously you make a post about something you're doing and obviously we're putting the podcast out through social media and all that. And it's so nice to see people who knew you earlier in your career, putting those likes up and writing those positive comments, almost acknowledging your growth, and they saw where you were and they're proud of where you are, So you still will be in touch with those peers one way or another. There's good friendships happening.
You have to. It's a sign that, okay, where you were, you socialized well and you're a good person. If you work somewhere and you didn't make any friends, where were you? Like, what happened?
You just locked yourself in a little room and
Was it your fault? Was it their fault? Sometimes you need to look at it realistically.
And like you've already said it too, you go to a school and you meet all these great new people. And it's just a sign of just how beautiful our industry is.
That's right.
Many great teachers in many great environments doing many different and great things to support the schools they're at, the students in their schools, their communities. It's great.
Like I said, going to a new school and those faces just lit up, introducing themselves. Hi, how are you? You straight away feel that warmth and that helpful nature. We're here together. We're going to do this together. You're part of our team now.
And you're bringing fresh blood, fresh perspective. People usually see you as coming in with high hopes. Someone that could bring us, new ideas, new change, as well as support what we currently have as well.
Absolutely.
Well, look, it's a good move, Rob. It's going to be good for you.
I'm pretty happy about it. Like I said, my move was obviously, my daughter goes to the school. So I really did research the school quite well before my daughter went in there. So when the head of the school approached me to come along, and I went, okay, this is an opportunity for me. That I took, and I'm quite happy with.
I'm glad. Congratulations.
Okay,
Rob,
thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your stories, Rob.
Okay, thank you, Chris, as well. I'm Robert Namoski.
And I'm Chris Kaladikis.
Thank you again, and don't forget, like, subscribe and comment, please. Thank you everyone that's been supporting us so far. We really appreciate the support, really. From what ended up a conversation in the playground to actually getting some really good guests in, and we've got future guests that we're really excited about. So stay tuned.
And it keeps me in touch with him now that he's no longer with me. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
Good on you. That was great, man. That one.